Hello everyone and welcome back to the Silicon Nubian YouTube channel where we're all about things tech. October 24th saw the release of the latest version of Antix, Antix 17, also known as Heather Heyer. Antix is an offshoot pretty much like Knoppix in that they throw in the kitchen sink, but Antix has evolved to become something that's even a little bit more versatile in some ways than Knoppix. Based on Debian 9.2 Stretch, Antix 17 is systemd free, extremely fast, very light on system resources as we'll see, and extremely flexible as we've mentioned. You can install it to a hard drive and you have different options when doing so. And you also have the option to run either the stable Debian release or use the more bleeding edge Debian testing Buster or SID. The choice is yours. Very extensive live USB. Antix comes with 4 flavors for both 32 and 64-bit processors, so there's a lot available for older machines, newer machines, whatever. There are 4 different installation options. We have the full option, which we're going to look at today, which includes over 800 megabytes of installation and software with 4 window managers. Iced window manager is the default, which we're looking at. It also includes Fluxbox, JWM, and Herb's Left WM, plus a host of software, of course. We also have the Antix base install, which is available, approximately 600 to 620 megs, with the 4 window managers. Antix Core, which there's no X whatsoever, but the support for most wireless devices, and Antix Net, which is a net install. No X, but you can install everything from scratch. So what's included? There's so much included. If you've seen the Knoppix video I've put out, you know the Antix is along the same lines of thinking, although it's a little bit more flexible when it comes to installation or more permanent installation. So a lot of software is included. We're going to take a look at what's here. So here's the default desktop after reboot. After installation, and what we've done, as we've done with all our videos, we've run the updates so that we're up to the latest software level at the time of the recording of this video. We have a very clean desktop. Conky's on our right side showing us all this information. We can see the resolution we're at, the DPI, CPU usage of 0, frequency 3.8. And as we scroll down, we can see that RAM usage is only 194 megs as we're looking at the desktop. This is very vanishingly low, in particular when you look at some DE's desktop environments that people use today. Of course, with a more powerful machine, it may not matter, but with a lot of older machines, Antix could be a great choice based in part to its low resource usage. So we right-click on the desktop. We're going to get to that in a minute. When we go down to the taskbar at the bottom, we have different menus that pop up. We can log out. We can restart the window manager. We can do a few things. Let's look about. We're running ICE window manager version 1.4.2 64-bit, running the Clearview Blue Medium theme. So that's it. Theme author, very descriptive. Right-clicking or left-clicking on the clock gives us nothing. Right-clicking on the speaker icon, we can open up our mixer, which shows the ALSA mixer. Right-clicking again, we can go about. It'll show us the volume icon version 0.51. And left-clicking will give us the slider. So really not much there per se. We have 2 desktops that we're working with, desktop 2, desktop 1. We have a mounter and unmounter. Of course, it's showing us that there's nothing mounted. And we have show the desktop. So we have all of that. We have help, which is done, which is very nice to have. And that's pretty good if you're getting into the system and you want a lot of information as to what you're looking at and how to get around. So it's all there. And the file manager, which I believe is Rox Filer. So that's the default file manager here that we're using. Not my favorite, but very capable nonetheless. Let's go down. Now, there's two ways again. We can right click and go to our menu, or we can click on the menu button and pull up pretty much the same menu. So let's go from here. You can see that it's identical. So we get to the terminal. We are running the 4.10.5-Antix. It is a modified, customized kernel. It's 4.10 level kernel version. And that's what Antix is running as it is out of the box, even after the initial updates. So for web browser, we could see that Firefox is the default web browser, which is fine, and goes into the home page that's already preset for you, which is the Antix home page. That's fine. And we have the file manager, as we've shown already, although there are two choices of file manager according to the documents. So Rox Filer and Space FM. We have editors. We have a personal menu help video, which is very interesting. Let's see if that thing works.
Hello everyone, Dolphin Oracle here tonight, checking out Antix 15's new personal menu.
So that's pretty interesting, sending you to a video so you can learn how to more deal with and edit your menus. We have applications, we'll get into that soon. We have the update menu, which I've clicked on a few times and nothing has seemed to come up, but the package manager will work. Desktop, we have other desktops. Here we have Rox, Fluxbox, Space, Fluxbox, Fluxbox. There's so many choice here that we're looking at. Really. Rox panel on, off, Conky on, off. Here we just turned Conky off. Turn it back on. There's the Rox panel right there. So we have a lot of things that can come up, a lot of configuration stuff that we can do. Take that off. I like a more cleaner look. We have the app killer, which just, we can kill whatever. I just killed the desktop. And we have the control center, which we'll get to in a minute. We have help, Antix video fac, ICE window manager help, applications help, firewall part image, man pages. So it really can help you and guide you if you really need to get into that and do some reading or even watch some video. You have the command line run. We can do that. We can change focus, sloppy mouse focus, custom themes. Tons of themes. Let's see how quick it is to change. Could go back to default. This is very lots to play with here, and it's all done immediately. Lots to play with here, not necessarily user friendly. They do, much like Knoppix, it throws a lot at you. So if you're a new user to Linux, it actually, in my opinion at least, might overwhelm. So let's continue, and we have the log out. We won't get into that. We can either restart the window manager or just lock the workstation or log out or shut down. So let's take a look at the applications that are included. In accessories, now we're going to see where things get thrown at you. We have a lot. Look at accessories. There's so much stuff here. Cherry tree. We have, which, and a lot of it I'm not familiar with, to be quite honest with you. Clip it, which a clipboard manager, Conky toggle, of course. One thing you'll notice is that in, much like Knoppix, in Antix, there's a lot of overlap. You'll see application entries listed in 3 or 4 different places. Functionality overlaps in 3 or 4 different menu selections and whatnot. For better, for worse. LeafPad, Midnight Commander, other desktops. Here we can choose which desktop we want to make our default. Remember, we did the full install, so we have a choice. So you can try them and settle on which one you like. Okay. Let's continue moving. Rox panel toggle, which we already saw. in another place. Search Monkey, Space FM, File Search. Now, we continue education, LibreOffice Math, which would point me in the direction of thinking that LibreOffice is installed, which it is. Games, DOSBox Emulator. Okay, graphics, document viewer, GTCam. No GIMP, but I'm sure it's available and quite easy to download if you wish. So we have a lot of different things here. Internet, tons of things. With Claws Mail, Connectures, Delio, Droopy, Firefox, GFTP. Interesting is, unlike Knoppix, and one thing that Antix has done is they don't include 6 different programs that do the same thing. It's a little less extensive than Knoppix. This is not a bad thing, in that on my Linux installs, I generally have one application to do one specific thing. Or, for example, I'll only have one email client. I won't have 6. So it's pretty good. WPA GUI, we have a lot of different things. GFTP, Firefox. Not familiar with that much. Okay, this is for your network interface to configure them. Very good. That's what I like about Knoppix and Antix. They introduce you to a lot of open source software that I would otherwise not know existed or would not be introduced to at all. So there's a lot of stuff here. JFTP I'm familiar with. Droopy. Okay. Let's continue on. Office, document viewer, LibreOffice, the full LibreOffice suite, and we have an additional document viewer, so that's great. High marks for that. Programming, sound and video, ALSA mixer, equalizer, CD ripper, GNOME MPV, video player, MPV media player, poor man's radio player. A lot of if you've noticed, a lot of the software is CLI based. It's fine with me. As long as they work, that's the most important thing. Speaker test, sound card chooser, SMT tube, not familiar. Speaker test, Streamlight, Stream Tuner, WinFF, XMS. Not familiar with some of this. Looks like some kind of YouTube viewer. Okay, because these are YouTube videos. That's pretty cool. Now let's continue to system tools. Lots. Antix help, we've already seen that. Boot repair. You could choose your startup services. Command line, app-based package manager. Okay, so you could search for, this is interesting. Instead of using apt-get from Synaptic, you can use it here. Search for package to mark or install. View a list of 83 suggested command line packages. View a list of 40 suggested GUI packages. Search for Antix kernels. Search for all kernels. Update package index. Edit repo. And quit. So very interesting. We have that. And it has some nice functionality built in. Gparted, Gsync, Control Center, which we'll get to in a minute. FireJail tools, we have a lot of stuff here, folks. Help videos, again, listed here, which it was also in another 1 or 2 menus back as well. Live USB kernel updater. And this is what we're seeing here is a hard drive install, yet there's still a lot of tools for the live CD, and we'll see live USB, sorry, I apologize, and a few other things that make it over even in the hard drive install. Live USB Maker, this is great. You can configure the system and get it the way you want it, and then you can create a live USB with it. So that's wonderful. We have Lucky Backup, LX Terminal, Midnight Commander, Mount Box. There we go. So we can mount our CD-ROMs and whatnot, although auto mount is on by default. At least I have it set that way. NVIDIA driver installer, package installer, PC information, listing everything that we have. We have different things we can view. Select them and it'll create a detailed report for us. ROX filer, we saw before, Space FM. This is the other file manager that's included. There we go. I should come back to that. Let me see what version we're running here. SpaceFM 1.0.5. Another good file manager, simple but good. System tools back to it. Of course, root terminal, rocks file space, Synaptic Package Manager. This works fine. I've used it and without issue at all. So that works great. The only thing I can't is the update menu. Never seems to start. That's the only thing I can't seem to start for whatever reason. I don't know if I need it or it just comes on when needed, but it doesn't start. So, we have a sync tool, which I use on all my Windows boxes, but we have it here as well, which is great. Fantastic. So that's about it in terms of, let's look at the control center now. This is where you can change a lot of settings using a GUI front end as opposed to getting your hands dirty with CLI. Although a number of very quality CLI tools are available with Antix 7 included. So here with the desktop, we can choose our wallpapers. And it's a little more involved. It's not in real time, but it works. Okay. Little error there, but everything seems to work fine. Here are our home folders, just to show you quickly. The default setup for your home folder, we have documents, downloads, music, pictures, videos, and public. And desktop, of course. Those are the folders that are pre-configured. So here we have a new desktop wallpaper. Select the font size, change GTK icon themes. So we can change our icon themes. And there we go, changed. There we go. Very quick. Edit Fluxbox settings. Preferred applications. You can change that, of course. What terminal you're going to use, what's your default web browser, and whatnot. Edit system monitor conky, which basically brings up a conky editor, text editor, and you'll edit it that way. Okay. No GUI there, folks. Edit JWM settings, of course, again with a text editor. Edit ICE window manager settings, of course, another text editor and whatnot. So let's go to System, Manage Packages, which will bring up Synaptic Package Manager. Edit config file, set system key map, set time and date, choose startup services, and we can just click in there or go in there and select the services that we want at startup. You could use a mouse in there too. Choose startup services. Of course, we saw that. We have a package installer. So here it is. Package installer, popular packages. This is another way you can install packages. You can go to audio. Do you want Audacious? Do you want all these things? And we can just, Spotify if you want. You want a different browser. We have a choice. Chromium, Firefox, the latest, although Firefox ESR is included by default. We can easily just go and add Chromium, for example, and it's running apt-get in the background, and it will go and pick up Chromium for us. So that's another thing that's there and another choice, so people can get the packages that they want, the software installed. And here it is. Do you want to continue? And it'll go ahead and install that package, the Chromium. Of course, as with some packages, or a lot of them, a lot of dependencies. For example, here we're also loading a couple libraries and some fonts and whatnot. And it's installing Chromium 61. And ask us yes or no, package installed. We'll say no. So this is another way to get your packages really quick without having to go through a more cryptic, at least some people believe so, running Synaptic. So, and we have graphics here. So here we have GIMP that we didn't have before. I can easily install GIMP. The only thing is there's no description of what you're getting. It's just the name. Double-clicking or right-clicking doesn't really give you anything on it, on the package that you've selected. This is just the little blurb here in the description. But it's fine. It's good. And we're going to get to who Antix is for in a minute or so. And here we have alternatives configurator. Not exactly familiar with what that's for, but animate Not exactly familiar what that's for. I'd have to. This is another thing. I mean, I've used Linux for years, but there's always something new to discover and play with. Let's continue with the control center. We'll go to network so we can deal with the network interfaces, configure dial-up if you still have dial-up, manage the firewall, ad block. There's an ad blocker tool included with Antix. Antix advert blocker tool adds stuff to your etc. host file so that many advertising services and websites will not be able to connect to the PC. You can choose one service or combine multiple services. Do you want to proceed? And pick your services. Choose a preferred blocking ad services. You can use all of them if you want. That's pretty good that's included. I would hope that would be something that would be included in other distros as well. Okay, we'll go to shares. Now this has all to do with networking, connecting your Antix powered PC to maybe a Windows network or whatnot. Configure shares, disconnect shares, find shares offered by the remote system. Once again, it's a CLI app, but it does the job. Session, you can change the screen resolution, slim background, change keyboard. Grub boot image, you can change the grub boot image. Screen blanking, if you want to set the time when it goes on or off the screen. Password prompt and user desktop session. Disks has everything to do with the drives. Image partition. Image a partition. Very nice. So you can actually image your drive. I wonder if you could set that up to do it, let's say once a week or once a day or once whenever. That would be interesting. And partition image is what it's using. Save partition into a new image file, connect to server. Okay. Might be able to do that. I'm not sure if it will allow you to do it. If you can create a cron job or something to get that done, I'm not sure. Synchronize directory, of course. File sync. GRSync, as we saw before, it's included. Partition a drive, which should be, of course, gparted. That's included. Install Antix Linux. We've already installed it, so I don't know why this is still here, but it's there. Doesn't really matter. Configure auto mounting, mount connected devices. And I have a CD-ROM mounted. We can always mount that. Hardware, printer setup. The standard printer add dialog is here. Set default sound card, test sound, adjust mixer, ALSA mixer, configure mouse, PC information, and something we've seen before in a different app. Drivers, NVIDIA driver installer, install restricted codecs. This application allows you to install restricted codecs that permit advanced video and audio functions. Do you assume legal responsibility? You can go yes, you get that installed. Microsoft Windows wireless drivers. Maintenance, we can go to create a snapshot, ISO. Interesting. This would be nice too. A good way to back up your system. You create a snapshot, let's say once a week. Let's see how that works. Okay, selects a different spot for the snapshot directory, and you can create a snapshot. Now, if you can do this on a regular basis, I think that would be fantastic. Network troubleshooting and back up your system. A lot of ways to back up your system here. Okay, lucky backup. Very good. Okay, so let's bring this to a close right now. Who's Antix for? Antix is not for the beginner. It's not for the Linux beginner. And here we have, just on a side note, Chromium that we just installed. So there we have vanilla Chromium web browser. Antix is not for the beginner. Antix is for, in my opinion, someone who's more seasoned with the look and feel of Linux. Not just the flashy Windows-esque look that some Linux distributions seem to want to aspire to these days, but a more Linux, vanilla Linux look. While it's very, very, very flashy in a way, Antix doesn't make any strives to bring in brand new users, although it's something that I think a brand new user in particular using it in a live environment would learn a lot from. Okay, so that's what Antix is for. I would say someone who has some experience with Linux and knows what they want, or in this case doesn't really know what they want because everything is thrown at them and they can make decisions based on what they see. Do I recommend Antix? Absolutely. if you have an older machine hanging around, Antix, again, there's different versions, different levels of installation. They offer 32-bit and 64-bit of all their versions, and there's just a ton of software. If you're a person who likes to poke around and really look at stuff and play with stuff, Antix is great. If you want a solid desktop that you can use on a day-to-day basis with lots of stability, Antix could be good for you too. It's upon installation, which I haven't shown, you are told to make the selection. What edition of Debian do you want to base it on? Do you want to base it on stable, unstable, testing? And depending on what you're going to use your desktop for, you can make those choices appropriately at that time. Performance, absolutely stellar. Antix is one of the fastest distributions I've ever had the pleasure of using. Right up there with my daily driver, which is Manjaro. Even after everything we've done, I'm still using 200. Well, it's saying that we're using 217 megs right now, even with the new theme and everything we've been doing. That's just unheard of in modern Linux distributions such as Ubuntu and Mint and whatnot, which use heavier DEs, GE graphical environments. At the end, I think Antix, from a performance standpoint, in particular, if you're going to run it on older hardware, should shine. It should be stellar. Comes from a Debian base, which is solid. And all in all, it's a great experience. So let's put it all in a nutshell. If you like to toy around and find out different things about Linux and experiment with lots of software, Antix is for you. If you like to do all that in a very stable environment that can be used for production as well, Antix is for you. If you're brand new to Linux, never used Linux before, don't know anything about it, and come from the Windows world, Antix may not be for you. This is just my opinion. Or if someone could hold your hand for a while, there's a lot of things in there that will be unfamiliar with you, for people coming from the Windows world. Another thing that might throw people off is that the duplication of different aspects of the OS, like in terms of software selection and whatnot, they're all over the place. It's not the best example of organization with respect to how your program menu is laid out. But again, if you are brand new to Linux, I would probably move you to something else, at least initially. If you want to carry around a Linux distribution that you have at home in your pocket and boot it up on a PC somewhere, wherever you're at, and have that nice experience, Antix is definitely for you. Antix has this great advantage where I can have my running system as it is, put it to a live disk, the way I have it at home, plug it into someone else's PC if I'm away or at a friend's house or at family visiting, and use my system as I'm used to using it without affecting their hardware. That is fantastic. So that's my look at Antix 17, the Heather Heyer released. I give it 2 thumbs up. It definitely serves what it strives out to do, and I would say please give it a look. Okay, definitely worth a look. Thanks for watching. If you're into building PCs and modifying PCs and PC hardware, please check out our group, PC Construction Zone. I'm going to put the links down below the video. We also have a general technology and computer forum, technology and computer enthusiasts, and our more commercial offering at Silicon Nubian. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.